I'm your host, Blaine Way. My co-host is Lenny.
Hey.
Erica.
Hey, guys.
And Tamika.
Hello, everyone.
Who's currently going through a hurricane, so her visual live is not good right now. Hopefully it comes back on soon. But before we begin today's episode, which is should every teacher be armed? Here's a word from my sponsor. Hold on, give me. Boom.
Bam, there you go. So tonight's podcast will be sponsored by, as you can see, De Leon. De Leon is a luxury goods and fashion company. Their products are made from carbon fiber, leather, high-end, and exotic materials that can only be found in those boss cars, those $1 million cars, you know, the ones we want to have one day. Yeah, that's what it's made out of. Launching soon on Kickstarter, they will be releasing their Gianna 8 card holder. That means they can hold all your credit cards, your ID, your military badge, all that good stuff in one place, which is beautiful. Visit their website and join their exclusive VIP mailing list for their launch and get the Kickstarter price. And you see that bag right there, ladies? Yes, that bag will be launching in 2019, the women's handbag. And Deleon, your girl Lenny would like to have one of those bags. Erica and Tamika.
Me too. Yes.
So very much for that. So yeah, tonight's show is sponsored by Deleon. Get yourself on that VIP mailing list. Bam.
All right. So with that being said, we're jumping into should teachers be armed? And I'm gonna start off saying no. I'm gonna start off saying no. Teachers shouldn't be armed. They're not properly trained, and that's just my personal opinion on it. From being in the military, it takes years of training just to hold a weapon, and just giving a teacher a weapon is the wrong answer, I believe.
Now, Blaine, so I agree. I kind of agree, but I also disagree. So I feel like there is a way to go about it if you're able to control it. So no, I don't think that every teacher should be armed, but I do feel like some officials in the school should be carriers. Maybe like the ROTC instructor or the PE teacher, definitely someone in the main office if they wanted to take that route.
No.
You don't think? So what if somebody comes into the school, a shooter? Wouldn't you be more happy to know that someone in the school is armed and could defend and possibly save children's lives?
Well, that's what they have cops for.
But by the time they get there, the damage could already be done.
I don't believe a teacher should have it. They're not ready for that hostile environment. So a shooter comes in, and then what? All the kids are running around, they're yelling. The teacher is likely to shoot one of the students. I mean, just to be trigger happy. Then what?
I think that I'm kind of back and forth on the whole thing. Like, part of me says, yes, it might not be a bad idea for them to have them. And then part of me says, no. I think the part that says yes, I think as long as they are trained properly, right, to carry them and how to operate them and know when to use them, I don't have a problem with it. But then on the flip side of that, you know, sometimes just because people are trained properly, they don't always operate the right way. So I don't know. I'm a little mixed up on it. I think that someone should know how to use the weapon. Maybe if it is the administrators that are able to, you know, have the arms and ready to use at any moment to protect the students. Because the way that goes in the school system, when you have an intruder in the school system, everybody goes on lockdown. And the only people that are not protected really are the administrators, because they still have to be available. And then they're the first ones to actually roam the school. So I feel like
they should have
it might be a good idea for at least the administrators to have something. I mean,
hey, Lenny, you had paused, so I don't know if everybody heard you. So can you kind of repeat that real quick?
Where did I pause it? I was just basically saying that I feel like the administrators could possibly have them, because really they're the first line of defense. Other than that secretary or whoever's in that front office. And I'm saying that from the perspective of someone who works in the school system and who actually works in that front office. So I feel like maybe someone on site, like as far as, because I know most schools have an SRO officer in their school system. who is armed on campus. However, it's only one for most schools. So I feel like there should be someone else on that campus that is armed to go along with the SRO officer.
Well,
I agree.
The issue I got with the school shootings or the weapons period, first of all, they shouldn't be able to just walk into the school anyway. That's been most of the issues. The student or the aggressor at that time walks into the school with his guns loaded and starts shooting. First of all, like the elementary schools, you can't even walk into the school unless you're buzzed in. So if you're doing that,
not always, because most schools insert.
Well, that should be our criteria then.
But even if they buzz you in, Blaine, you don't know what I have on my person. So you buzz me, now I'm in and I have a weapon. I can cause harm now.
Well, I'm saying common sense to me is, as of May 2018, it's already been 19 school shootings, right? The biggest one being, I believe, was Florida, and in the previous years before that. But common sense tells you, hey, every school should have a policy now. Before they can even walk in, you look at the person walking in. And if they got a trench coat, they got some kind of material on that looks suspect, you don't let them in. I mean,
you can't go off of that, Blaine. Come on, let's be real.
I would.
No.
You got videos too, right?
No. You can't go off of what a person is wearing. I remember being in high school, sitting inside my science class, sitting right beside a student who had two big old double barrel shotguns or whatever in his pants.
Oh my gosh.
No one knew it because of the way he was dressed. He was dressed like everybody else. So you can't really go off of what they're wearing in their attire. You can't go off of that. You can't even go off of what a person looks like in their face because, I mean, 9 times out of 10, a serial killer is not going to look like a serial killer.
Right. It's probably somebody who you know and talk to every day.
It doesn't matter how trained you are. I mean, like, if people are that trained, we would have serial killers walking around and people walking to schools in the first place.
Exactly.
Well,
so you can't go off of the appearance. But then back to what you said about buzzing in, there are a lot of schools, I'm not going to say what particular county in particular, but there are a lot of schools who do not have that buzzing in system. And even if you do have the buzzing in system, I remember in one school district that I worked for, we did have the buzzing in system, but you just look at them on the camera, but you still got to let them in. So they can say, you ask them, good morning, how can I help you? They can say whatever they want to say to get inside the building.
Okay,
once they get inside the building.
So what's the alternate thing? What's an alternate answer instead of arming teachers?
Of course, metal detectors in different ways. So, but with those types of things, that requires funding, and most schools probably don't have the funding to construct the school the way they need to. But I would think the best way, instead of jumping straight into guns, is to have where they get buzzed in, they're inside a little room, and then you allow them into the school.
So are they going to get searched? Are they getting searched too in that little room?
Well, are you searching everybody? Like, I'm a mom. I go drop Ray off. Am I getting searched? Like, who do you choose to search without running into like people feeling discriminated against?
Well,
like,
I'm asking because you said put them in a little room.
I think that a good start.
They don't have direct access to the school. That's what I'm saying.
I think that a good start would probably be maybe metal detectors or something like that.
How about this?
I think another good start would be to have more volunteers in the school system, maybe running the hall.
Absolutely. I was going to actually say that.
Yeah, because a lot of school systems have you very rarely see a school system who doesn't have multiple exiting doors, and those multiple exiting doors cannot be monitored all the time. So it'd be a cool idea. I remember when my daughter was in kindergarten and we were in Wake County schools, they had this thing called Daddy. And so there was an assigned daddy on duty. Like you had 2 or 3 daddies just roaming the hallways and helping out in the hallways whenever they can. And that kind of helped police the campus. So, I mean, maybe more volunteers. I think definitely a metal detector will help because when they walk in the building, they have to go through that. And if it happens to a there should be someone there.
Right. My suggestion is, which nobody has said yet, is why not hold the parents accountable? I'm saying, how they get into all these guns anyway? The guns should be locked up at the house. There's no way a kid should be able to get to a shotgun, a sniper rifle, an AR-15 with all these rounds and walk into the school or whatever else. Like, I'm telling you.
They're getting it from their parents, though.
But if you start holding the parents accountable and they start locking it away, and then you won't, I believe it would reduce the shootings.
But who says the guns are coming from the parents?
Where else are they getting it from? Majority?
Anybody on the street. Let me give you an example.
No, not the AR-15. Not the AR-15.
Wait, hold on, Blake.
Where they from?
Yes, absolutely. Because I have a 16-year-old brother, and I'm being transparent. I have a 16-year-old brother, and my brother gets access to weapons and things on the streets because he doesn't get it from our home. My mom and dad does not give him access to stuff like that. These kids can get access. They can get access now to these bootleg back page websites online. These companies shipping stuff in, these illegal stuff. You don't have to necessarily. Now, I agree, we should hold parents accountable, but this is not always the case. How these kids get these access to these guns and stuff.
Well, I'm just tired of when a shooting does happen, the excuse comes, well, they got mental health problems, they was playing too many video games, and now they got anger issues. Now, bullying, I can understand, but the first three, no, I don't want to hear that crap.
I think that overall it's a community issue. It's not just the parents, it's not just the teachers, it's not just, I think it's all of us working together that's going to have to be the solution. I think a lot of times parents, everybody puts the blame on the other person. The parents put the blame on the school system puts the blame on the parents.
Right.
And I think that really when it comes down to it, the blame is on everybody that's involved in that particular child's life. So like, what are you doing to put that child in a position to make them think that they need a gun? How we need to start, how to prevent them from feeling like they even need to bring a gun to school or need to do this type of thing, you know? So I don't think that, and then you have some children, I'm for real, like when we decided to do this topic, the first thing I thought of, I'm not gonna say the student's name, but there are some students that will push a teacher to the point where they might not even, we were talking about teachers bear arms, right? Remember? It might not be a good idea. The part that made me say no, it might not be a good idea was the fact that there are some students that are so, I'm not going to say bad, but are so challenging that it could put the teacher to the point where they'd be like, okay, you want that smoke? What's up? But I mean, I'm telling you the truth. Some children can be so,
demanding.
And here's the thing, Lenny, and with that being said, that's the scary part, because a child could literally lose their life off of being foolish and childish and immature. And that is one point I will say, Blaine, I do agree. I don't think every teacher should have a gun, simply because they're human just like us. They have they have emotional issues, they have family problems, and they bring all that to school. Now your kid's being challenging, it's the wrong day, the wrong time, now somebody gets killed. So
I mean, it's not only that, with all the racial tensions that's been going on lately too, and all the teachers that's being identified, I would have wanted them to have a gun, period.
Right, that's true.
That's been big lately this year.
I remember when I was in school, when I was in elementary school, it changed before I got to middle school. They could spank the kids.
Oh yeah, I was. I remember those days.
I got spanked once, and in the middle of that, by the time they got to the third lick, I was like, "Call my mama."
Yeah.
But
they lucky I was short at school.
They never had any problems out of me after that. Never.
So would the answer be? I would say hire more cops, but then we seen the Florida incident where the cops ran away.
Say that again.
Well, that was my response as well. I think we should definitely hire more trained people, more volunteers, people that know how. Maybe we should get some retired military people, or maybe, we should definitely bring more people into schools. Now, when I was in schools, especially high school, I remember we had security guards and we have police. I think that's what schools need to start doing, is really locking down security on every end. Maybe off-duty police officers can volunteer, and maybe we can pay them more money on their time off to police the schools.
Agree. Or if not, like I said, the JROTC, well, most schools have a JROTC, more than one instructor. I think they would also be people that would be able to carry as well. Right. Because most of them are like retired military anyway.
Yeah, they're retired. Yeah, they are retired. But I mean, still at the end of the day, I still don't think the answer from what the government is saying, to train teachers, give them guns, have them be in the classroom, and depend on them to protect the students is the wrong answer, period.
But wouldn't you feel better, Blaine, if an intruder comes into the school
and
has a gun, and somebody at the school also has a gun, is able to stop that person who potentially could take out a bunch of students, but they're able to take out this one person by handling it by shooting them, would that not make you feel better than that person being able to come into the school, kill the front desk person, get into a classroom, shoot up the classroom? Like, you don't think at least one person in the school should be armed?
Yeah, the cop.
So
security.
just one.
The security, no teachers, no.
Okay.
I just don't see how that will work in a hostile situation. Well, you're gonna have all these kids screaming, you're gonna have them all yelling, running around.
Well, no, it would be the same, just how they do like tornado tests, just how they do fire drills. Then of course they would have a drill for this.
But the difference is, tornado is coming. That's nature. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got nobody coming and busting in classrooms, shooting up classrooms. The students are not gonna sit still. They're not gonna go to a corner. They're going to either try to get out the windows, like in Colorado. They're going to try to run to a library. They're going to try to run to hide. And then, I mean, I'm not sitting in the classroom.
But you know what? Since all that has happened, schools have adapted for that. They have made drills specifically for that.
There are very good plans. There are very good plans in place to protect the children once we know that there's a lockdown situation going into school. Right. There are very, very good plans that they have, and I'm not just saying that from a person that works for the school system. I'm saying that from a parent's perspective. That like I have children that go to school in the same district I work in, and I can say that when it comes to the plans that we have in action in my area, I'm very confident in those plans. But I just happen to work in an area where we do have police officers on campus. And we do, and we're in a small town, so everything is in close proximity to our schools. So everybody's able to respond quickly. Like, for example, we had an issue last year where it was like a lockdown. And I was actually off that day, but my child was at school. And I didn't really have like a lot of fear because I felt confident knowing that my kid was okay. Not just saying that because of, I am an employee, but at the same time, saying it from a parent's perspective. Now, I have been in situations where I work for school systems and I'm off of work and my child's at school and I'm like 2 counties away from my child, and then I hear on the news that there's a lockdown. I'm in a total panic because I know that school system is not prepared. So I think that's why it's important for parents to know the people that are in the school, so that way they can understand and know how everything operates before they panic, because it's important that we know that. And if a parent shows their face and the parent's involved, a lot of things that we go through at the school systems can be eliminated, even stuff like this.
Right.
And I think someone said that you can't have this stuff because most school districts just claim they don't have the money. But money can come from sources. Okay, we don't have money. That's why we have PTO groups that most people don't even participate in.
This is true.
I remember working for a school district. We had 700, how many students at Marymoor? We had over 700 students and only 5 people on the PTO county. Over to Wake County, you got hundreds of people on their PTO board. So all that stuff plays a role in it. If the school can't supply it, that's why you're supposed to have all these boosters, PTO, and all these type of people that who possibly could provide the funding to provide the extra security or extra things that you need for the school. But that comes in with people having to do work outside of their normal, description. That comes outside the parents actually having to put forth some effort.
So the positive coming from a teacher having a gun would be fast access, security, and high probability of taking down the shooter.
True.
You said true?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
100%.
So, no. So, I think I would agree with that. A lot of training had to come behind that. For example, the military, they get trained now. Like every year they do training. They go to the range, and they still have misfires. Even in Afghanistan, they've been trained. Some guys have been trained for like 10 years or more, and they still have misfires. And yet you expect somebody to have a 2-month training or a 1-week class and think they're good to protect your child?
Well, of course, there has to be protocol put in place.
No, I think it should be part of the curriculum before you even get their degree.
That's a good point, Lenny.
I think
it's a great point.
I think it should be a part of their curriculum before they even get their degree. I mean, like they have to learn how to write clearly, all that kind of stuff. This is just another class that should add on to it. It should go a part of their certification. Like if you were working as a correctional officer, you would have to go through a certain amount of training at a shooting range and get a certain grade before they even qualify you to carry the weapon on the premises. I think the same thing should apply to the school system.
Great point.
And I feel like if a person can work in the prison system and control themselves where they don't misuse their privilege of having a weapon on them, I think that teachers can do it too.
Right.
Is there
some inmates
with
smoking behind the bars, and them inmates ain't the prison, the guards or whatever ain't smoking them out. So I mean, I think teachers are mature enough to handle that. And if you find one that's not, fire them. Most school districts are at will companies, so they can fire whenever.
So we got a comment from lyrically my best. He said,
"Hey, Miss Best."
Said teachers are overworked, stressed in most schools. Don't put a gun in the hands of unstable people. So teachers are unstable?
Yes, I'm dealing with
some kids. Of them are. They're overworked and underpaid. So some I would say maybe are.
So
I know what school she work at. So she might.
Hey, see, but that being
like, the school she work at is like the elementary school version of what is that? Lean on Me.
Oh no.
Oh, no. Somebody put in the comments to call Joe Clark too. I think that was.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm telling you, you can make it at that school. You can make it anywhere. So
look, but see,
y'all might need to talk to y'all people.
But see that
good.
and that is my main point of why you should have put weapons in teachers' hands. It's too much stress going on throughout the day.
Out of the wrong people's hands.
You said what?
How do we keep them out of the kids' hands?
Hold the parent accountability. Hold the parent accountable. So if you look at some of the stories of some of these kids that did do the shooting, they went right to their dad's closet and got the gun, got the rounds because they went hunting.
Okay, outside of the children, what about the intruders that come to the school? Didn't we just have a Lifetime special movie about a lady? That wasn't someone who...
I think Toni Braxton starred in that movie too, didn't she?
Yeah, girl, she did a good job too. And you know what's so funny? You know what scared me about that movie? The position that she played in that movie is my position.
Is it?
So yes, she wasn't the secretary in that school. She was covering the lunch for someone else. And we have to do that every day. And so that person that entered that school was not a student. He was an outsider.
Yep.
So how do we handle the outsiders?
Actually.
So
well, like I said before.
Can the people that work in the office, can we strap up? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
There should definitely be a gun in the office. I just feel it should be.
Well, it should be. Maybe the vice principal or the principal or one of the secretaries should have access to a gun. But like I said, it should be a standard for every school that they got to be buzzed and you got videos looking at the guys. Like it's been too many school shootings to just allow somebody to walk right into your school. That's how you stop an intruder from coming in.
And I want to address this comment by Lyrically My Best. She's saying we don't even have locked cabinets or desks for every class. So how can a gun be kept out of the hands of kids? So is that also an issue that we have to address? If we're going to have weapons in the school, how are we going to keep that locked away? We're going to have easy access so that the teacher can access it immediately? Because in the spare of the moment, when something's happening and everybody's panicking, how are we going to work that? What kind of formula would the teachers use to do that and keep it safe away from children?
Okay, if they don't have, so something's wrong. Be careful, please.
I think it should be just like a parent. Like when you have a gun, you put it in the safe. You don't have it out in the closet laying around. You don't have your rounds located with the gun, like in the gun, so the kid can get to it and just shoot everybody up. You have everything in a safe. But
evidently, how are they going to afford a safe? And they can't even afford cabinets and lock.
They better figure it out.
True.
But my thing is this: that's an instructional issue, because that means you don't have the proper equipment to teach your children.
So if the teachers are to have weapons or guns, how are they supposed to walk around the school? Are they supposed to have it on their hip, or a student can easily come up and grab it?
People walk around Walmart with it on the hip.
That's Walmart. We talking about school.
Same difference. They walk around the state fair.
I ain't got nothing to do with that. and guess what? When I see that, I get paranoid and I go the opposite way too.
That's why I didn't go to state.
Why are you so scary?
Why do you get paranoid? Because someone has a gun?
He's scary.
I ain't scared. Hey, look, I ain't got 9 lives. Hey, look, I ain't got 9 lives. I got 3 kids who depend on me. I ain't got time to get shot up.
But if you join that VIP, you should have.
But we can carry public. We can, if you're a concealed weapons carrier, you can carry in public.
Right.
That's a legal thing.
Carrying in public, I'm walking the opposite way.
Well, you're gonna walk the opposite way from me because I'm right.
But Tamika is packing.
First, I seen Tamika. Ain't nobody scared of Tamika. First of all,
I saw.
First of all,
I might just walk towards her, just take her gun.
Whatever. You don't want that smoke.
Don't be fooled. Don't be. I may be a church lady, but I can bring the heat.
Pew, pew. We need them in church too, Tamika. Shoot.
Wait a minute. Who did the 22? Who did the pew, pew, pew?
That's what she's gonna be doing.
Pew, 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 pew. This is 22.
Some states allow. Some states have allowed better safe to be dead. Yeah, some states do allow.
I agree with that.
Totally. Okay, so not every teacher. How about this? How about the grade chair? Because every school every grade level has a grade chair. So
what is that?
The grade chair is basically the teacher that's in charge of that hallway.
Okay.
So if not every teacher can have a gun, how about just the grade chair, one elected person per hallway?
That's a good idea. And that would be easy to control because it's easier to keep track of just a certain amount of people than a whole bunch of teachers.
And if they're just in the hallway, then they're not necessarily going to have their gun accessible for the students. It's going to either be on them or locked away someplace.
Right.
Isn't that the same thing as having a cop?
But wouldn't you have to pay the cop though, right?
I mean, you got to pay that person too, don't you?
But not as much as the cop.
Well, I'm going to say this: if a teacher has to now, because now, okay, we give teachers guns. We've just added to their job description, which eventually will have to entail more pay. Because now we not only want them to teach, now we want them to be security as well. That's 2 different jobs in one, but you're going to have to pay somebody. Money's going to have to come.
But that requires proper state funding, right?
So if we're going to get proper state funding, we should be able to get proper state funding to supply security guards for every hallway.
Well, you already know that's not happening because they've been cutting state funding for school educational already.
So it sounds like instead of having a teacher and the gun issue, it sounds like a state funding issue that we're dealing with.
Right.
And it very well could be.
Where's the money? Where the lottery money going? Where is that stuff going? Can that money supply us with some
Absolutely.
Security.
So lyrically, my best said the money should come from the city, not the schools. How is that? I'm still trying. I mean,
have different pots of money.
Is that for police?
You have different pots of money that fund the school. So I'm thinking she's talking about local funding money. Judging off of, I know what district she works for. So you have a local funds, you have local funds, state funds, and federal funds. Local funds are county/city funds. So I'm guessing that's what she's talking about. I think, to me personally, I think that it should be a part of the police posting. For example, it should be a part of their shift posting. I'm not really sure how they do that, but like they should have enough people on staff to have to house police officers everywhere. That should be a part of their regular routine. Where that is if that's a part of their regular routine, it's a part of their payroll and not the school system's payroll.
Good idea.
Because they're protected service.
Right.
So instead of just having one SRO, like in some counties you have one SRO that covers several different schools. Maybe they should just have an SRO per school. So that means if you have 12 schools in that district, there should already be 12 school police officers on the police department's payroll. And that should be their job. That makes sense?
It does.
You know what I'm saying? So like, because I think with like most school systems, when they're dealing with like the lower grade, like elementary and middle school, they have an SRO officer is responsible for maybe 2 or 3 schools. But then you might have 3 to 4 SRO officers in one high school. So I think that maybe they should just have an SRO officer assigned per school, like one per school. instead of sharing them. And that would give you someone that's on campus that's armed and ready to bring that smoke when they need to bring that smoke.
Yes, exactly.
Well,
So-
I hope there's an age limit for that. What?
I said excellent
say?
point.
Yeah.
So
Let me ask this question. So why do you think the United States is one of the main countries? Because I've not heard any other country have this issue.
Because they're not strict. They're not strict.
So where can we? What level should we start with that? Because if in other countries you don't hear shootings, you don't hear of
That's because overseas, from being overseas, when you overseas, you steal something, they can cut off your hand in some some countries. You do certain things, they'll have you tied up to a pole with a bamboo stick and it's whipping you 30 lashes. I ain't even lying though.
That's what we need to start doing.
Hey, the laws here are too loose, and it's
He said, Blaine, are you with us?
Blaine.
shoot somebody, but I could understand that area from the point of view. But from all the other excuses, nah. If you torture them, I mean, I know that's not allowed, but if you torture them like the foreign countries do, I'm pretty sure everything would drop.
So would that be something that has to be federally mandated? Does it have to come from top level government in order to implement these laws? Because we in the United States, we go by, it's our right to protect ourselves. It's our right to, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
in my home, I should have a gun. And
well, it's part of the Geneva Convention that we signed, like in, I want to say like 1970s or 1980s, saying that we can't torture criminals and everything else. If I'm right, but that kind of ties into that, and that's why a lot of stuff doesn't happen now. I think the laws are too loose, like you said, stricter laws.
I think they're too loose just for certain people.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Look, just think about it. If you shoot somebody, and the worst thing that's gonna happen is you go into jail. You get 3 meals a day. You get lift weights. Now some of the prisons have TVs and cell phones in there. Like they chilling.
Where?
Oh, you better get on the internet. Some of these guys got cell phones in there, posing, everything.
Computers. They be on
computers.
Media.
You know,
they have whole dating
sites too. Pose what I'm talking about.
Yeah, look, if you kill, exactly. Like, look, if you kill somebody, period, you should be able to go in there. You should be able to go in there, read a book. Should be able to get a degree, have 3 meals. Like your 3 meals should be straight rocks.
Okay.
It's saying straight rocks.
I wonder who makes these rules up. I mean, it's just crazy.
Hey, but look. We're gonna for the next 5-6 minutes, we're gonna open up the floor for the people on the broadcast.
Not rocks though.
Yeah, look, they can eat rocks. Hey, look, rocks. And look, if they want some seasoning, the seasoning could be some sand and a little grass. They good. Tear it up.
I'm not, you know what? I'm almost for you. I'm almost, in agreement with you, especially if you're guilty of something. But then what I worry about with that type of punishment is for people that are in our prison systems that are not guilty of the crime, or it's not, or that crime or the punishment is way too harsh for the,
This is gonna be a good topic. This needs to be that next topic right there.
Hey, well, we can bring that up. I mean,
parents who are locked up.
Locked up.
Let me out.
No, y'all get locked up. I can't get locked up. I'm too short for that. No. But hey, so what we're gonna do is go open the floor up for all the people that's online with us. Let them ask some questions. If you have any questions, this is the time to ask. Go ahead. The floor is open. So, it's like they got like a 20-second delay. So.
And welcome to the broadcast, everybody, for all of you that are participating and commenting and interacting with us. We appreciate you here from Way to Parents Speak Up podcast. And this is the way this is the whole purpose that we're doing this podcast, for you to interact with us. So we appreciate you.
And please share the video, please.
But with that being said, I'm surprised we haven't got no questions yet. Well, we probably been answering the whole time.
Look, Ursula said, I would like to agree, but one day I may end up on the other side of the tracks. Don't speak that, Ursula.
Hey, gotta watch her. Hey, you better delete your comment.
Don't speak that over your life, Ursula.
We're gonna use that as evidence. You know how they watch Facebook now.
It'd be a close walk. I remember, man, I got one student, never mind, hush. I remember when I went to elementary school, boy, it was just one student, man. Woo.
You about to be locked up?
Ursula said we're all one thought away from a terrible thought. Yes, but we don't have to act on it. Come on, cast those thoughts down.
I ain't got no thoughts.
Yes, Tamika.
I ain't got no thoughts. You not about to me jail? Nope.
No,
nope.
You wouldn't survive in jail, Blaine.
I couldn't do jail. No.
Blaine
yeah. Survive. I already know I ain't surviving.
They say the women prison is the worst.
I definitely would not survive.
And that's why a lot of us keep our hands down and keep our hands to ourselves, because there's many situations that we would love to pop off. But all you have to do is just have that one thought of thinking, I'm gonna leave my kids behind. We don't want no parts of jail, no parts of the criminal, system.
That's true.
The thoughts of having to leave my children behind have saved a lot of people. And
what do you think will happen if a teacher has a gun? They going to jail too.
Well, hopefully they got some children that can remind them they don't need to get locked up.
Now.
They're not gonna go to jail.
Teachers going to jail.
Yeah. Hey, there was a matter of fact, there was something I think up north when a teacher something happened in class and the teacher pulled out the gun on the student. That's prime example.
What?
Yeah, it was maybe a couple months back when they was talking about teachers to have guns, and it was just a couple of shootings, and he pulled the gun out on the student. Where was it at?
Georgia, she said.
See?
But that teacher was not authorized to have a gun. That just sounds like someone doing something
the same thing with the teacher body slam with students. So I mean, if a teacher wanted to hurt a child, the teacher would have hurt the child anyway. That's not what a teacher aims out to do.
Some teachers. Some teachers.
Blaine, why do I feel like that's your biggest issue? Your biggest issue is that you're afraid the teacher going to take the gun and shoot up all the kids. And I know it's not funny. I'm not laughing at it. I mean, maybe I am laughing, but
because it's not. It's just been what's been on the news lately. All the negative teachers. Not every teacher is negative. Let me clear that up. But for the stuff that has been exploited lately on Facebook and social media, you see all these teachers behind closed doors saying all this negative stuff, what they wish they could do to a student. And then you give them the opportunity to put a gun in their hand where they're stressed out. Because even though they're not stressed out at school, let's say something is happening at home and they bring that to the school. And that's just not a good day for them. And then they have that gun in their hands. And it's like, you know what? Shoot them up, bang, bang. And then I'm going to shoot myself. I mean, teacher, don't frown up at me, Lenny.
I ain't shoot myself for nobody. I don't give rats behind no.
Well, you can go to jail.
I ain't shoot myself.
And Blaine, I think a lot of it too is with the ruthless killings of our police force. Of all
that's another good stuff.
Children and men. That would also be a concern now in the school as well, because as we do know, there are some people who are racist. And although they are teachers, they're intelligent now, so you won't know they're racist because they know how to mask that, but they may use that as a way to
do a psych exam before they do.
Yeah, and you're right. Like you said, it's a lot of racism that's been brought to attention of teachers just being exploited this last 2 years. And then you put a gun in their hands, and then what? There's another big shooting spree. Or the teacher said, "Oh, I didn't mean to. We had an incident, and I thought I was shooting at the aggressor or the intruder, but this dude happened to run in front of the gun, and I shot him." That happened all types of ways.
It can go both ways, really. And then it can go where they save the day and they're able to take the intruder out and save your child's life. So
that's true. Ain't too many Superman out there though, So it's me,
What do you mean? There's not too many Supermen.
Well, everybody, because a lot of people think of themselves first. There's not too many people going to sit there and let me go. At least I don't think so. When it's like, oh, I got to go. Let me run out here and shoot them. Oh, let me go out here and have a firefight and let this student that I don't like run away. I don't see that happening.
I do. I've seen it happen. I've seen where people say, when it comes to children, like if you're in an emergency situation, your overall thinking process is to protect that child.
Right.
No matter what that child did to you or did not do, you're going to protect that child. I don't know a person with common sense or any type of humanity in them that would just not try to protect the child. I don't see that, especially not working for schools. But I guess maybe because I don't see that happening. I don't see leaving a child hanging and then just going for themselves. I don't see that.
I think you don't see that happening because you're placing yourself in that position, Lenny, and you're thinking as you would do, not as what everybody else would do.
I'm not thinking about me. I'm thinking about people that I have seen that have put themselves in danger to protect the child. I have seen where you might have a child who's artistic almost running in the middle of the street and a teacher steps out in the middle of the street and almost get hit by a car. And I have seen where kids are in the middle of a fight and the teacher gets hit with the chair and gets knocked unconscious trying to protect. So I can't say, I'm not going to sit up here and say, I don't see where a person would not think of protecting those children first. When you have people who have went to school and invest time and their life into a certain profession that involves taking care of children and teaching children, there's something in that teacher that believes that that student is more important than them, because if they did, they would have never invested that much time in the first place. People who choose to be a teacher are not doing it for the money. They're doing it out of the passion and the love and the care they have for children. So how can you have love and compassion for children and not want to protect them if you have to? I don't see that.
So with that being said, should there be an age limit on who should have a gun? Let's say there's some teachers like 7 years old. I'm just saying, there's some teachers like 7 years old. Do you expect them to have a gun? Or is it like you said?
Designate certain people.
No.
What's wrong with a 70-year-old having a gun?
What's wrong with it?
Right.
She's gonna be trying to shoot. And then she's gonna be, oh
Lord, somebody. You're I think you're describing old people that are they're old and mental. I know 70-year-olds that are very agile. Okay,
my grandmother's past 70 and I promise you.
Yeah. I don't think age has whatever, Blaine. Everybody is not gonna be, looking crazy.
That's how I see it.
Ursula says, not true, Latoya. You said you can't say.
But with that being said, our time is drawing near. We've got 2 minutes left. So if anybody has any questions, go ahead and ask. Other than that, I'd like to thank everybody who tuned in tonight for this episode 2. And make sure to share the content, like the page, and tune in next week on episode 3.
We have a question here about Jamar Johnson. It says, do you believe that the teacher should carry the gun on them, or should they have the gun locked away, locked up in a safe place from the students? Y'all want to address that again?
Should the teacher carry the gun on them? The answer for me is no, because some of these students are bigger than the teachers. They can easily overpower a teacher, take their gun, and just go on a shooting spree. So my answer is no. Being locked away, yeah.
And we
did that help you out, Jamar?
Good answer.
Anyway, said there are students that fight their teachers, and if that teacher is armed, something tragic could happen by them being shot.
Anyway. That's right. Hey, that's why we related right there. Boom, bada bing, bada boom. There we go. Perfect answer, Mom. Good one. Support your son. There we go. No teacher have a gun.
And lyrically, thank you, lyrically. You've been very involved in this conversation, so we appreciate you. She said, I know 23-year-olds that are mental and they're working for the school system. Please don't put a gun in their hands.
See? So,
but how would you feel, Blaine, if your wife was a teacher and a student went to fight her, pushed her, she bumps her head and dies? Versus her having
I gotta get locked up, and then
I'm just saying, versus her having a gun and being able to defend herself.
You said if a student attacked her, she had a gun,
right? Because as you said, the students are bigger than the teachers.
Well, all because she has a gun doesn't mean she'll be able to defend herself. She still has to react she still has to be able to react to get to her gun, to pull the gun and shoot. The student could sneak her. I mean, basically, the student knows she has a gun. He's just not gonna. I
don't think the students should know the teachers have guns, though.
Well,
no.
But if they carry the gun on them, like Mr. Johnson was asking, they'll know.
No, the guns you said should be in a safe place.
Yeah, but even if it's in a safe place, she still has to get to the gun. Period. And then I'm gonna have to get locked up because that student ain't making it.
Well, all right.
I've definitely seen videos going around where students overpowering teachers. I mean, I saw a video where a male teacher was overpowered by a student, knocked down, started beating him after he was jumping on another student. And then the teacher tried to still get up and try to get to a safe place. And the student just turned on him again. In that moment, what kind of force should a teacher use if they're not using a gun? Because at that particular time, that child could have hit one wrong blow and took that teacher out.
Killed him, exactly.
Well, like Miss Martin said on here, that's like the same thing of a cop almost. So then you're saying if you're being attacked, so that gives me the right to pull out a gun and shoot the student now? So now
they're attacking you.
Can that basically be in cops then?
They're attacking.
So now they're having the same authority as a cop. So if a cop is threatened, they have the authority to pull out a gun and say, hey, I'm being threatened. He attacked me and I shot him. So now you're saying they have a teacher has the same power as a cop?
Let's talk about that though. So you think it's okay to attack someone who's in authority? Like that makes no sense to run up on a cop or a teacher and try to fight them and not think there's going to be some type of consequence. It doesn't make any sense. I would never try to fight an armed cop.
Well, that's you.
Or a cop, period.
Period. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
Look, that's 2000. This is 2018. But now you have social media. You have all this stuff. They're doing it for the book. They're doing it for the gram. They're doing it for likes. A lot of stuff is really social media influence. So, yeah, if you go out here, you run from a cop, you go viral. Guess what? You're the hottest thing in the streets. And you're this and you're that. You're the new man around here. All the girls like you. So
because you ran from the cop?
No, I'm just saying because when you go viral, you go like, okay, for example,
it makes them popular, I guess that's what he's saying.
Yeah, you'll become popular. Like you'll be you go around school, yeah, that's that guy. Don't act like y'all ain't know in school, like, oh, yo, that's that dude that got in a fight with such and such. Yeah, he got whooped and everybody knew him. It's the same thing. If that makes sense.
Right. It's crazy.
So, Lenny, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Okay,
can you hear us, Lenny?
Wow, this is starting to get heated now. So
Ursula said, well, let me go up. Let me go back up. Ursula said not to use a taser and not to use a gun.
Use a taser.
That's a good. Yeah, that's a good
should
one.
Be the
Yeah,
first option.
I can see a taser.
Yeah, I could definitely see a taser or a stun gun. And then Latoya Ray said, teachers won't carry guns to pull out the gun to defend themselves for students. It's to protect students from intruders. Yep, and that's a very good point. Ursula said, is it stand your ground in school?
That's a good question. I would have known. I have to look into that.
Stand your ground is something that operates pretty much in life.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's a Florida rule, I think. That's from Florida, stand your ground. When you're feeling threatened, like the guy, I think was at a convenience store, he felt threatened, he pulled out his gun. and shot him after one push. And there was like it's a big controversy on it. Now he's being charged for murder. But that's another topic. That's a whole nother discussion. We already
Jamar Johnson has another question.
Right,
he said question.
Last question.
Go ahead, okay. Jamar said, do you believe instead of using guns that teachers could possibly take self-defense classes to restrain the students if they find themselves in situations where their lives are threatened or endangered?
Well,
yes, that's an excellent thing.
I think that's the correct answer, and I agree to it. But at the same time, you got a student. I don't know what these kids be eating these days. Students is like already 6'4", 6'5", 220 pounds. That can still, regardless how much self-defense class you have, overpower a teacher. You know, so I guess it kind of varies the situations. Yeah, everybody should have self-defense, but at the same time, self-defense ain't gonna save you from somebody 6'6" that's young, athletic, and can just put a whooping on you. So
what's gonna save you?
What's gonna save you is, I agree. It should I think a taser. They should have a taser at least, at minimum. Taser, electrocute, barbecue. Yeah. Yep. You don't kill them. Well, Lenny, you shaking? What, Lenny? What, Lenny?
That's not gonna work, Lenny.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I think that's just as dangerous as a gun. I mean, you teach somebody just self-defense thing. They can beat them till they harm them too bad, or you tase them. I mean, it's just bad. Same thing.
No, it's not. It's totally different. If I tase you in your chest, okay, you're gonna survive the taser unless you have health issues or whatever else. But if I shoot you in your chest, you're not surviving that.
You might.
Okay, I'm shooting you 5 times in your chest. Get up.
Hey, that's extreme. Why would you?
I'm just saying.
Why would you shoot a child 5 times?
So what do you suggest that teachers do, though? I mean, teachers are putting their lives on the lines every day with a possible gunfight, shoot, whatever, intruder, whatever. Well, you know, maybe not to the level of, you know, the Crime Stoppers, the police or whatever, but I truly believe teachers have a great deal of possibility for someone to come in and try to hurt and harm them, especially what's been going on in America. So what should a teacher do?
The taser thing is not going to work. I mean, you got people out there that use that for foreplay. So, I mean, like, that's not going to work.
So look.
What? Oh, no.
Jesus.
Look. With that being said, we're gonna bring everything in conclusion. We gonna all right, we already went past our time frame, and we kind of get off the topic anyway. So once again, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in tonight for episode 2. Tune in next week, next Thursday. Monday, we have a new episode topic. And we'll catch you next week. So have a good night.
Good night.
Night.
Good night. Stay safe, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
All right.